It's time for TWiT, episode 278. Coming up, John C. Dvorak, Cali Lewis, Will Harris, and Danny Sullivan from Search Engine Land. We'll talk about Google's new notebook, the CR48. You can't buy it in stores, but maybe John will get one. We'll also talk about the Billionaire Boys Club and the problem with WikiLeaks. It's all coming up next on TWiT.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Audio bandwidth for This Week in Tech is provided by Winamp for Android, the ultimate media player for your desktop and Android device, featuring wireless sync. Download it free at winamp.com/Android. Video bandwidth for TWiT is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com. This is TWiT, This Week in Tech, episode 278, recorded December 12th, 2010. Dangerous Crows. This Week in Tech is brought to you by GoToAssist Express. If you're in tech support, save time and money by supporting your clients and colleagues remotely with GoToAssist Express. For a free 30-day trial, visit gotoassist.com/TWiT. And by Carbonite. Backing up the files on your PC or Mac is safe and easy with Carbonite. For a free trial plus 2 free months with purchase, go to carbonite.com. Offer code TWiT. And by Ford and the new Ford Fiesta. With an EPA estimated 40 highway miles per gallon, no other compact car is more fuel efficient. And fuel economy is just for starters. The 2011 Ford Fiesta. Ford invites you to drive one at a dealer near you. It's time for TWiT, This Week in Tech, the show that covers all the technology news, and a great panel joins us this week on TWiT, starting from the UK, where it is the middle of the night. And I know because I'm on UK time, Mr. Will Harris of channelflip.com.
Leo, it's a pleasure to see you back where you belong on that bouncy little ball.
Do you actually, I could be wrong here, maybe it's a stereotype. Do you actually have a crest on your shirt? Like a royal...
Yeah, you know what? I do, but it's a Ralph Lauren crest, so it's about as un-English as it gets.
The size of that thing.
Like, by appointment to His Majesty the Queen, Will Harris appears.
Yeah, it's the comfiest sweatshirt I could find for this late at night.
No, it's very appropriate, frankly, for this show.
For a bunch of Yanks.
Yeah. Thank you for being here. I haven't seen you in ages. I appreciate you showing up in the middle of the night. You know, I also haven't seen in ages, although she was here, I think, on Wednesday, and I missed her in studio because I was in France. Cali Lewis of GeekBeat.tv. Hi, Cali.
Hey, so while you were in France, I was digging around through your office and found some stuff that I just might post on WikiLeaks.
Oh, dear. You look exactly like Julian Assange.
Right.
Well, okay. I guess if I did defend WikiLeaks, so maybe I can't stop you now.
Exactly.
I can't stop you. Did you find my salad? We've been looking for it for a year.
No, I did not find that.
If you find it, let me know.
I'm thankful I did not find that.
You should be able to smell it by now. Also here from SearchEngineLand.com, Danny Sullivan. Great to have you, Danny, and a very appropriate time because there's been a lot of Google stuff.
There's been a lot going on. The packages, new phones, new computers, all sorts of things happening. It's kind of hard to keep track of it all.
Thank you for joining us. And finally, last but not least, well, maybe least. Very much least. John C. Dvorak from ChannelDvorak.com and his little purple friend, Barney.
You need to qualify that really quickly, Leo.
Little purple friend.
Barney.
That's a good one. Now we're off to the right foot.
We're off on some...
That's not a foot. I'm sorry.
Look what I got. Look what I have here. It's the black helicopter of laptops. No insignia. In fact, I'm surprised you didn't talk about this on No Agenda, John. This is an absolute stealth laptop. I bet it doesn't even show up on radar. Look at that.
Actually, when you lift it open, it doesn't. There's nothing inside either.
That's really, it's
really hard to type on.
The only thing inside is a browser. This is the new. Oh dear, I'm opening the wrong side. So you can't even tell where you open it. This is the Google CR48, which is their kind of demo hardware. I'm sure you have one as well, Danny, and in fact, everybody on the panel probably has one.
I don't.
We like to do that to John.
I got a little sticker on mine. They handed them out.
What's your sticker?
What are you talking about, John? I've got 3.
Well, send me one.
They're all colorful and everything.
Danny has a sticker. Oh, that's pretty. I like that.
Yeah, they had to do something, I guess. With the launch event, they were handing out skins and such.
So the deal on this is not a product, but this is a preview of what will eventually be. I guess Samsung might be the first to make an actual notebook based on Google Chrome. But this is the first. Is it a hardware? Danny, would you even call it a hardware reference platform? Or what is this?
Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know, hardware reference, I suppose. Super alpha test platform. I mean, when I got mine, I didn't spend a whole lot of time trying to look through the look and feel of it or anything like that. It just really seemed like a box for them to house the software in that they really wanted people to look at the most. The final product is going to be different depending on which of the makers. It's kind of like saying, here's this computer from Google, the Chrome Notebook OS or whatever, and that's what you're going to get, versus having come out with, say, an Android prototype 2 years ago, and now look at all the different Android phones that you have in all sorts of shapes and sizes.
So this is almost like the G1 then, or something like that.
It's very much like the G1, but although without even any of that kind of branding.
Right. No branding at all. It doesn't even say Google anywhere on. So the weird thing about this, and I have to say I cannot get my head wrapped around it, is now under the hood there's an Intel processor. I know because there was a card in here that says, hey, there's an Intel processor. Like Intel must have done a deal. 2 gigs of RAM. There's not a lot of RAM. There's a solid state drive. I don't even know how big it is. You don't get to know because there's no optical drives, because the whole point of this is you don't need storage. This is just a gateway to the cloud, right?
Oh yeah, when I was testing it out, I was getting very confused trying to figure out where I was making screenshots, where they were being stored at, where my downloads were going.
You were actually able to do screenshots?
Oh yeah, it's like Control N or something like that. It's I did the article up on Search Engine Land, and I there are all these alternatives that you can use on the keyboard, but when you do a screenshot, you don't get any feedback that you've actually made it. And I talked with them afterwards, and I was like, well, it's kind of hard. You're trying to figure out where all your local files are, and you don't seem to have a file explorer. You don't seem to have a finder. And they're like, yeah, we don't. If you want to explore your files, you're going to do that when you're using some program that needs to find a file, say WordPress when you're uploading.
So there is local storage then. I mean,
there is there, but they really, kind of view it as this is just sort of a temporary shelf, was the way they put it. We want you to put your files there just temporarily and then push them off to the cloud. So
in order to find that screenshot you took, you'd have to email it or upload it somewhere.
Yeah, or I think it was Control O would bring up a little tiny tab, and then you could see any downloaded files that you would have that were out there. But they really don't intend for you to be doing a lot of local storage on here or trying to do file management. They just don't really want you to think about it. Just throw it out there into the cloud.
I have to say, I'm playing with this, and it's basically Chrome. The browser is the interface. Right. It's everything. It's Chrome, the browser. There's nothing behind it. There's not even a desktop. It's Chrome, the browser. and I put this next to my MacBook Air, which has exactly the same browser. In fact, I've got it synchronizing, so it even has exactly the browser apps. If I buy it on one, it synchronizes to all. And I'm thinking, well, I get exactly that. Plus, I get a whole operating system and applications, and why would anybody want that?
You get everything the MacBook Air has and less.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you just wanted a browser? No problem. Here's a computer with just a browser.
I asked them as well, and it was like I asked them that as well after I went through the review, and I was kind of underwhelmed. And they said the main thing that they suggest that you're going to get that's more of is you're never going to have to supposedly think about upgrading the software.
Right.
It's going to upgrade for you. It's all going to be synchronizing. It's all going to be working, and potentially you're going to be even more.
Maybe it's really cheap.
Malware protected.
Is that the other?
I mean, is that it, right? Dan, everything that you're saying, Danny, it sounds like it's kind of designed for the cloud and all those kind of things. Is it going to be priced more like a netbook or like a sub netbook? Because even netbooks can run Windows 7, right?
Hey, for $199, that thing will be worth every penny.
That's it. $200 max.
Yeah, if it's that little, if it's really
goal.
Cheap, sure.
Yeah, but I don't think this platform. First of all, it's too big and heavy. But I don't see how this could be even $200. I mean, it's going to cost more than that.
No, it can't.
Well, it can't, because I don't know why you'd buy it. Because for $300, you can get a netbook that has an operating system. For if you want something really light and beautiful and thin, you can get a MacBook for $1,000, and So I just don't know who the audience is for this.
Yeah, it does seem to be going directly.
Go ahead, Kelly.
It does seem to be going just the total opposite way of everything else. I mean, so many people are into apps these days.
Well, there's apps.
That's driving a lot of. Okay.
I mean, they have a Google
Chrome
apps,
though, right?
Yeah, they're HTML5
like
apps.
What?
Right. Well,
do they have Dangerous Crows
like
or whatever that bird game is?
Dangerous Crows. Say that again. Dangerous Crows. Is that? Did you actually say that?
Dangerous Crows, Flapping Sparrows. I'm not sure what is it?
Angry Voids.
Yeah.
Yeah, you must have played it, John.
I mean,
I'm completely out of the loop on everything.
So this is.
I don't even know why I come on the show anymore.
I don't either. This is so. This is.
We've heard that, Leo. We already know.
We have no idea what we're doing with you. This is now. This is actually a MacBook running Chrome, and what's interesting is the Chrome browser does sync. You log into your Chrome account. So when I buy an app in the web store, and this is another thing, Google announced a bunch of stuff this week, including you can see here at Google Books. There's a bunch of apps. Some of them are free. Most of them are free, but some of them are $1 or $2. But an app is really just a website. So
that stinks.
I mean,
that's the challenge that they face with this is that, I mean, if you go back, it's not even that you have to compare it to a netbook. You can compare it to any laptop computer, and you can get good laptop computers, full-blown computers for what, $450 in that price range. And this is going to give you. If you bought one of those and you're running Chrome, you have everything that the Chrome notebook is going to be giving you, and still less, except that, in a year or two, you may have to upgrade the operating system. I don't know that that's going to be that compelling at that price.
But
point.
I mean,
it's very
is Chrome
similar
OS going to come out? Is Chrome OS going to come out separately so that you can put it on a laptop, or will it only come, Danny, with
I was at
laptops?
LeWeb, and Mike Arrington asked Marissa Meyer. Point blank, he said, "Are you going to make this so that I can install it on a MacBook Air?" And she said, "Well, that's something we'd like to do. It's not something we're announcing, but it's something we'd like to be able to do." But I don't know why you do that. You just
why
you got
I have a better question that should have been asked by Mike Arrington point blank.
What was that?
Which is, can I take that machine that you're holding there that I paid $200 for, let's say, and put a nice Linux operating system on it, download it? Has it got any kind of way of doing that?
Well,
can I pull out that hard disk and stick it someplace else and then put Linux on there and shove it back in that machine and have a real computer?
You're sounding kind of aggressive, John.
Just
actually underneath the battery is a flip that you can throw onto it, and you're supposed to be able to root it and do what you want.
Oh, really?
And I suppose, there's some sort of toggle. I haven't gotten to it, but if you can go through and then figure out a way to get whatever the operating system that is running underneath it to recognize whatever data or files you want to throw in there, I suppose you could do it.
But why?
Exactly.
So you can have a real computer for a low price. That's what I'm guessing.
No, I don't think that's what's going to happen.
They got to subsidize the thing. They're going to be giving it away. They're going to take it as though it was a game machine. So you take a beating on the hardware and sell all the software. That's what
they don't think that they will, and I think you can look a real parallel between this and Google TV. So with Google TV, they're not subsidizing Google TV in any way. If you want it, you got to go buy it. And you buy it either from Logitech or from Sony, and it's pricey, and it actually. If you look at this sort of laptop and then you compare it to something like the Roku box, even though something like the Roku is giving you a lot less, it's working and doing some of the things that like a Google TV can't. And so here you have a laptop that isn't really giving me, it's not really giving me a compelling reason to dump my MacBook or to dump a Windows machine. It really is that. I'm not going to be able to save files. I'm not going to be able to plug in all sorts of drivers. If they don't bring it out, and in particular this means the hardware manufacturers can't bring it out for an extremely low price point, I don't see the point. And they haven't suggested anything like, oh, and by the way, we're going to, subsidize it through ads or any of those sorts of things that they used to talk about like they do with the cell phones, and that they never did in that case either.
One thing that is in here that maybe is a little unique, but it's much needed. I mean, John, this has in spades what you've always complained about with cloud computing, which is it's completely and utterly useless if you're not connected to the internet. You can't do anything. So it has 3G as well as Wi-Fi. Now, Google, when they hand these out, gives everybody 100 megabytes a month on Verizon free for 2 years. Danny, is that going to be Is that just for journalists, or is that part of the actual deal?
No, that's very unique. They said anybody who gets one of these notebooks is going to have some basic connectivity built into it. And that seemed to apply also to the ones that the actual hardware manufacturers will put out, that they, I guess, have part of a requirement, or that's the part of the deal that they've managed to cut with them, is that you will be able to have this basic connectivity. I mean, it's 100 megabytes, so it's not going to last you much.
It's not a huge amount.
But there's some pricing plans that are in there.
Right.
No,
Leo.
Yes, John.
It would be just, I mean, you should have something there that would be really useful. Something I'm looking forward to getting a hold of one of these days, which is the MacBook Air. I think that's the machine people should be looking at.
I should probably explain that John has been lobbying for well over 2 months for us to give him, for reasons I don't understand, give him a MacBook Air. Like I would just like write a check.
What are you accusing me of?
I have to say, the one thing I'd be slightly jealous of is I'd love it if my MacBook Air had that inbuilt 3G.
That
would be
fantastic.
nice.
That, I agree, would be nice.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, I have a MacBook Air that I take out, and so now I have both of these. In fact, I'll go off on a trip, and I'm going to take them both just to play with them. But I carry a separate MiFi card from Verizon.
That works.
So I'm already paying $60 a month for this plan,
right.
And there's no way for me within the Google thing to tell it, hey, I already have an account. Just use your inbuilt telecoms and tap into my existing account and my existing phone number, whatever. I'd have to buy, if I want that thing to be standalone, a separate plan. And at this point, I don't kind of want my stuff built into the notebook. I'd rather have the separate unit either in my phone or in the MiFi card that I can take and run on my iPad or on my, Mac Air or my laptop or whatever I want. It's really convenient.
But see, we're all geeks. We want it to be flexible. We want geek power and all that stuff. So I presume that Google intends this for somebody who's not a geek. But even then, I think they would want more than just a browser.
You know what that really reminds me of, and it's just kind of struck me, is it seems more than anything like the OLPC.
Right.
It's like underpowered. You can't do anything apart from the internet. You're not quite sure why anybody would want it apart from the price.
The OLPC did more. It did more.
I'm trying to remember.
You just need a little
back
hash
when this
fail
was
next to
announced,
it.
we were all very excited about it. What happened?
Well,
Why were we excited about it back then?
By the way, John, Merry Christmas. This is going to be yours, and I hope you enjoy it.
That would do it. Yeah, that'll work.
No Air for you, but I have a CR48 with your name written all over it. Here, I'll just slip the card that says it's got an Intel chip in it. So I think we're agreed that this is an interesting product, but there doesn't seem to be a market.
No, we didn't
for
agree
it.
it was interesting.
Not even an interesting. Oh, I'll tell you something interesting. You want something interesting? I'll tell you something interesting. No caps lock key.
Finally.
Google says something like, now nobody will be typing mean comments anymore because they won't have a caps lock key. You can revert it in the control panel, but instead of where the caps lock key would be, there's a little magnifying glass. They say it's a search key, but it's not even a search key. It just opens a new tab in the browser. They don't even get that right.
I think the company's losing it.
What does it have? Does it have like, I mean, this is getting really super geeky.
I like it, by the way. Will is leaning forward as if he's trying to see. Here, look. what would you like?
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's coming right at. We need a 3D study.
Sorry, I was leaning forward because I was looking at my keyboard because I was trying to work out on Windows you've got the Windows key. Yeah. On Apple you've obviously got the little Apple Command key. Do you have like a little some kind of Chrome key? Is there like a little G key?
Nope. You got Control. You got Alt.
No G spot.
No G spot. That's what she said. It does have, now what it did do a little bit is it changed the function keys. There are function keys, but they're not function keys anymore. They're browser keys. So there's escape, back arrow, forward arrow, refresh, full screen button, new Windows button, and then the traditional brighter screen and sound buttons. But there are no function keys. You know, it's first of all, this is just not even a hardware reference. It's got a camera. Google Chat will give you video calls on it. It probably does a lot. Intel's got its operating system designed for netbooks. So does Ubuntu. There are a lot of simplified systems that do a lot more than this that are also free. That would run on inexpensive netbook hardware. If there is a market for that kind of secure, simple, automatically updated, cloud-focused device, there are a lot of choices. I think this is I think it's an interesting idea. I don't see it going anywhere, to be honest.
I have one other question. Do you have the ability to lock the computer, set a password, and do account preferences?
Yes. And there's a guest account, which you can turn off, but by default there's a guest account. When you first open it up, it says, "What's your Google account? Log in," and it populates it. If you've already set up Chrome to sync, it populates it with all your Chrome stuff, and your Google Docs and all that stuff. I think it's a. I see, Pandora's got an app on here. Evernote's got an app. Google Reader and Calendar. There's Groove Shark is on here. I mean, there's you can functionalize it with everything you would do on the web, but I don't see. But by the way, when you install those apps, they also install on every other Chrome browser you've got. So I don't get it.
I'm reminded of I mean, you have to go to the meetings and be in the offices, obviously, when they do this stuff. But I'm reminded of the years back when WordStar came out with this word processor that was, I think it was called EZ or something like that. It was after the Word Star 2000 debacle. Then they came out with this thing.
I remember that. It was horrible.
And this program called EZ.
It was like Bob.
It was really bad.
Yeah.
But I asked them about who's going to buy this, and they said, well, we've designed it for people who don't like word processors.
Great.
And I said, well, who's going to buy it if they don't like word processors in the first place?
Right.
And I get the sense that this is the same kind of thing they're looking at here. Well, there's a lot of people that don't like computers, so they want something really simple. No, they don't like computers. They don't want a computer, simple or not. I mean, the fact is, Cali was right when she says that the trends are going in the opposite direction. I've never seen a piece of software come out that actually gets simpler every time they bring out an upgrade. It doesn't make any sense. This is crazy, this device.
Steve Martin called it deprovement. He said, they keep deproving my software. I think that's very apt. All right. Well, there's more from Google, and you saw the one of them, which is a Google Books. Is finally out, 2 million volumes to compete, I presume, with Kindle and the iBook store on the iPad. We'll talk about that. Of course, WikiLeaks is again in the news. I know, John, you're probably sick to death of it because you and Mr. Black Helicopter probably talk about that a lot.
We actually we talked a lot about it early. We were off to do things.
You moved on. Somebody called me on the radio show and said, Google is censoring InfoWars. I said, oh, really? What do you mean? Does it show up in searches? Oh, yes. But InfoWars is not included in Google News.
Oh, brother.
I said, that's because it's a crackpot site. And then I got an email from somebody saying, I'm never listening to you again. Have you read InfoWars? It's not crackpot. It's true, true, true. Even John doesn't believe it's true. And he's a crackpot.
I think it's pretty bad.
It's about as bad as you can get. All right, let's take. I'm sorry, I got off on a tangent.
Yes, you did.
I did, but you know what? I'm going to go on even farther on a tangent. You may smoke them if you've got them, as they used to say when I was in the Navy, because I'm glad I got a laugh from somebody. I don't know who it was, but because I'm going to talk a little bit about one of our fine sponsors. How about that? The good folks at Citrix, who make Go to Assist Express. If you have to support people, and I know a lot of people who listen to this show, whether they want to or not, support family and friends. And many of you are in IT. You support, actual humans. Or perhaps you're in software support. Go to Assist Express is a great way to save time and money to make yourself a support superstar. You just go, eh?
No, I put a thing over the camera like I normally do, and then I fell behind the whole operation.
That was a classic. I need that in the Dvorak soundboard. I actually have that sound.
Yeah, I know. I've heard it.
Well, good. See, John wasn't talking about Citrix. He loves Citrix. We all do. I started using Go to Assist Express actually in the Screensavers days. We used it on air to actually fix people's computers. A lot of times on the radio show, I wish I could use Go to Assist Express. It is a really great way. Let me give you an example of what it's like to use Go to Assist Express. I'm on the Skype with my mom, and she says, I'm using, I'm sorry, Mom, I'm not, I know you don't talk like this, but this is so they understand that that's you talking now, not me. I'm using Intuit, and I can't find my files. And so I said, well, great, no problem, I can fix this. And I started a Go to Assist session, Gave her the link right there in the Skype chat. She clicks it. Never installed it before in her life. 30 seconds later, it's not only installed, but I'm in her computer. I'm saying, let me move those files here. This is what you do. She can watch me. She can watch the mouse move. She can chat. Best of all, once I've installed it, now I have unattended access, if she allows me, and I can fix her machine anytime. I can get on and fix her machine. You can do things like run 8 sessions at once. So if you start and install on one machine or a scan, you can move to the next and the next. That really helps. I think GoToAssist users, this is a study that GoToAssist did. GoToAssist users report an average 40% increase in productivity for these support professionals. That's like 2 days a week in improved productivity. You can see what software is running. It's 128-bit SSL, 24/7 support for you, which is nice. I want you to try it free. PC or Mac, just go to gotoassist.com/twit. Gotoassist.com/twit and try it free for 30 days. We thank Citrix for their support of GoToAssist. So let's see who's fallen off. It looks like John C. Dvorak is hidden behind a piece of paper.
Yeah, I'm right. Coming back.
And Cali Lewis is just hung up. So there you go. She said, I don't
blame her.
I don't want to be on this show anymore. The FCC said, before we get to that, Danny Lewis, any thoughts on Google Books?
Try Danny Sullivan.
I mean, Danny Sullivan. Who's Danny Lewis? Cali Lewis, Danny Sullivan. They got married, and there you go. Danny,
The person you're
thank
trying
you.
to reach is currently unavailable. Please leave a message after the beep.
Wow. Not only
It's very
Leave a
polite,
message
though.
at the sound of the
not only
tune.
did Callie hang up on us, she actually moved to another country. she really didn't want to be on the
moved to
show.
Voicemail, isn't it?
I don't blame her.
Holy moly, I've never had that happen. So, Danny Sullivan, Google Books, this has been rumored for a long time. In fact, it was supposed to happen months ago. What's going on with this? I'm sorry to put you in the Google explainer-in-chief role. I apologize,
He's
Danny.
got the machine.
It's all right.
Yeah.
They've they had started off with all this scanning and bringing in all the books to help people search them out, and then in this time we've had this sort of whole online book reading device software to actually read books directly from your computers coming along, and I think it's them jumping into that kind of a space. I think it may complicate things for them because they still haven't done the settlement. I think this is still wrapped up in the courts, and you're going to have some publishers who are going to point at this and say, see, this is once again Google trying to rule the world or whatever. Although when I looked at this, the last time it was that I think you could buy Google editions through Google, or you could buy Google Books through Amazon, or I think you still had a variety of other ways that you could go through and purchase the books as well. But it will be interesting to see how successful they are, in that they haven't really been that successful when they've done these kinds of, we're going to sell retail products, if you will. One example was when they had on Google Video, they actually were selling you the ability to download video content.
Oh, yes,
and
I
watch
remember
it.
that.
Yeah, and then, it ended up dying, and in fact, all that stuff that you bought went away, and they stopped supporting it, and people were upset, and, hey, and I think they gave everybody refunds in the end for it, but, whether this takes off or not remains to be seen.
So there was that. There was the Chromium thing. The Chrome OS.
Yeah.
What do you?
The Nexus S came out this week.
The Nexus S. I saw a little demo. They've actually updated Google Maps to be vector instead of bitmaps. So that's actually kind of cool. What would happen? You'd zoom in and it would say, wait, and you'd get nothing. Now you actually can zoom in and zoom out, and because it's vector based, at least you get something. And you can tilt the maps with your pinch gesture. And it's 3D. It's kind of like Google Earth now.
Right.
They had some SketchUp models in there. That's nice. What else? Anything else? Oh, they're updating the Android market. And here's actually, I got a lot of email, a lot of complaints about this. One of the advantages Android had over iPhone was you could install an Android app and you had 24 hours to uninstall it and you'd get your money back. And they reduced the time from 24 hours to 15 minutes.
Wow.
15 minutes?
15 minutes.
That's ridiculous.
The Apple App Store has no time on that.
Yeah,
right?
it's
You
like
can't uninstall it. And
Well,
get
it's
your money
15
back,
minutes better
so-
than Apple, but 15 minutes might as. I mean, how much time? It's going to take you more than that to figure out if you want the program, right?
Well, but
A lot of programs,
I mean,
you know.
This is like buying clothes or buying gadgets and taking it back within the allotted amount of time. I mean, it's never been available for apps before, Android did that. I don't think it's
You don't think it's so bad?
Thing.
All right.
Look at reviews.
I do.
Decide if you're actually going to use it and buy it or don't buy it. It's not that big of a deal.
I actually like, and I thought it was a huge feature that you had this 24 hours. I can't imagine developers complain. I don't understand why Google cut it to 15 minutes.
Probably a bookkeeping issue.
Yeah. It's huge.
Somebody's abusing it somehow. I don't know.
Abusing it. Yeah, those angry pigs. They were abusing
No one would ever return Angry Birds. No one.
By the way, at the web, MG Siegler from TechCrunch interviewed the CEO of Rovio, the Finnish company that makes discombobulated aviary people, whatever it's called. What is it called? Angry Birds. And he said, get this, 12 million copies sold on the iOS, 12 million, and 30 million freebies on Android for a total of 42 million units of that game. And it's not even that good a game.
It is.
It's mediocre.
You love it, Callie?
I love it.
Are you hooked?
I hear the word Angry Birds, and right now I'm looking at my phone.
She's playing it as we speak.
She wants to play. Do you like the Christmas one and the Halloween? Did you do all the seasons and all that?
I did not buy the seasons because I still haven't finished the other one, and I'm trying not to, I'm trying not to let it affect my productivity. So I decided to opt out of that.
I think it's one step up from Punch the Monkey.
Can you imagine how many
game.
hours of wasted productivity? If you have 42 million users, got to be 10 hours for each one of them.
I think it's killing this is why the economy's in the tank.
Right. No one's working.
This is it.
It's Angry Birds.
I am glad that they updated the Android market. It looks like it's going to be a little bit better because that's my one complaint. I love Android. I love what it has done for the mobile environment. But it's the market is kind of bad to navigate and to deal with. So from the screenshots, it looks like it's going to be pretty impressive.
Are you? Do you use Android or you're an iPhone person?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Hey, have we brought it in when Callie was on before? Did you bring up the fact that she's now on network cable TV? Doing commercials.
What are you doing commercials for?
Did you see her commercial?
No.
She's been on a commercial. She was on the O'Reilly Factor.
No.
For Zom, the Bluetooth device that alerts you when you get too far away from your phone so you don't leave it in a restaurant or at home. I'm apt to leave it at home before I leave.
She's a spokeswoman. She's very pretty, by the way.
I left my iPhone in Paris. I could have used that.
Hello? What? Say it louder, Leo. We didn't hear.
I am going to send you a Zom, Leo.
Actually, somebody was in here the other day, and he said, that's what my Bluetooth earpiece does, because when I get out of range, it goes bloop. And if I'd had that, I would have known. I was in the cab. I was on the way to the airport, and I'm going, uh-oh. I just knew. I left it in the hotel room, so they're going to ship it to me.
Oh, they found it.
Oh, and by the way, the French Postal Service, a marvel of efficiency.
Yeah, you'll get it probably sometime in the year 2014.
We will ship it. Okay, one little thing, and then I'm going to move on. I love France. I'm a Francophile. I love it. It's beautiful. I will go to Paris at the drop of a hat. It was wonderful. I had great food, great coffee. People were very friendly. But it snowed, right? And the cabbies, as soon as it started snowing, folded their arms, lit their gauloises, and said, we're not going anywhere.
It's too dangerous to drive.
I am not driving. It's like, what? What? No, this is when we need you. No.
Yeah, it's not quite like the New York situation. They come out of the woodwork when it's raining or snowing, and you still can't get a cab.
I ended up on the metro because I couldn't get.
Oh, you had to take the subway. You had to sink that low.
I was going à la gauche, à la droite.
No cab everywhere I look.
You guys are too spoiled in San Francisco. In Dallas, I have to wait 30 minutes for a cab.
All right, maybe it's just Android. According to Andy Rubin, is now activating 30,000 handsets a day. That's like
I thought was it 30 or 300?
I'm sorry, 300. Did I say 30? 300. It was 200 a month ago. 300 handsets a day. That's like
300,000.
30 handsets every day.
Yeah, your number keeps going down.
Every day. 3 new Android phones or so. No, that's like 9 million phones a month they're doing.
So who's Andy Rubin?
He's Mr. Android. He invented it.
He's the Android guy. He's a robot,
he looks
actually.
like this. No, Andy Rubin is he's the guy they brought in to do Android. He knows. He's
I think it's fair enough then. So he knows his stuff.
Yeah, you believe it, Danny, right?
Is there any reason to not believe him?
Apple says no. Remember Steve Jobs said, "Oh no, they're making that up." I mean, Steve basically said they were lying. What do you think? Is that, Danny? You must know.
They seem to be selling a lot of the phones. It doesn't seem unsurprising that they would do that. I thought Jobs was saying something like trying to suggest that the activations were different from them doing upgrades or something else like that.
He had all sorts of...
People all play things with the numbers, but I don't think there's any doubt that there's a lot of Android phones that are out there, and more seem to be getting sold each day. And it's an amazing story, because if you went back 2 years ago before it was out, you kind of could have thought, well, I guess iPhone's kind of wrapped it up and nothing's going to challenge them. And they've really come in there as an alternative.
Well, another thing Steve Jobs said was in that famous conference call with analysts. And by the way, people say, oh, you're an Apple basher. I'm not bashing Apple, but I got to point this out. In the conference call, Steve said, nobody wants a 7-inch screen. He said, this iPad is... A 7-inch screen is half the screen real estate. We won't make one. That's just a hardware manufacturer making up demand. There's no demand for 7-inch screens. So Samsung Galaxy Tab, 1 million units in the first month, as many as the iPad in the first month, or very close to.
That's
there might
insane.
be something to this 7-inch.
It is crazy.
Screen thing.
Yeah. Callie, have you used the Samsung Galaxy Tab?
I have. I like it a lot.
Me too.
It feels good. It looks good. The system is working well, so I can see why it's being sold a lot.
Yeah, and it's great for Angry Birds.
Exactly.
It's just the right size. I'm not kidding.
You guys like everything.
No, have you played with
That's
the Tab?
not true.
John?
I get.
No, I haven't played with anything. I'm out of the high tech scene.
I've got this fabulous.
Because I'm waiting and waiting and waiting, so I could kind of upgrade my entire laptop orientation. And
I've got it. I have to say, I played with the Tab, and I was not a fan. To see that it sold 1 million is really quite surprising to me.
I was surprised that it was better than I expected. I really kind of believed, oh yeah, 7 inches is not going to be good, or Android's not going to have the fit and finish. But
a lot of people like 7 inches.
Well, it's not as good as 9. Or what is the iPad? 10?
9 point.
9 point something.
Whatever.
I was skeptical about 7 inches as well. I thought, when that stuff started coming out, I was like,
somebody's getting
come on.
They're just children.
You guys are
Ignore
terrible.
them. They're just children, Callie.
When someone's finished making the John C. Dvorak sort of soundboard thing, someone also needs to make the Cali Lewis soundboard as well. Just for that.
Okay, I'm just gonna shut up.
No, I'm so sorry, Callie. Let me just hang up on these boys, and you and I will speak.
Yeah.
Right. I got myself
right.
That one. So I was just saying that I don't even know what I was saying anymore. Yeah, let's just move on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it has to do with the price too. Don't forget.
Galaxy Tab's expensive. It's more expensive because you have to get a 2-year contract than an iPad.
I'm not getting one.
It's sick of
to me, I think it's selling because it's a giant phone, and people really want.
It's not a phone.
That big giant phone.
It's not a phone.
Hello, Mom.
It's not a phone. You cannot make. This actually is the weirdest thing. I'm holding it and I'm thinking, boy, I'd like to make a phone call. I mean, it's not something you want to hold to your head, but it seems odd that you've got an Android device that looks just like my Droid X, except it's got a 7-inch screen, and you can't make a call on it. That seems like a missing feature.
It's really strange too when you figure that they didn't sell a version that just was Wi-Fi only that would be even less expensive. Yeah, I was amazed at those numbers that went out.
Yeah,
I think those numbers are bogus.
Maybe they didn't really, but it was Samsung claiming this. They would know, right? And they can't.
Maybe they're doing some.
They're not allowed to lie, are they? It could be
only a little bit.
It could be what I think what Jobs was saying, which is that's in the pipeline, not actually sold, or something like that.
Well, there's the difference of like sold to retailers and then retailers sold to consumers.
It's the book
so it
to,
could be
book
that
to bill
you know, Samsung shipped 1 million of them, but 990,000 of them are sat in Best Buys around the world.
You know what's sat in Best Buys around the world? This is so sad. So the Microsoft Kin comes out. It sells for like 1 month on Verizon. Microsoft yanks it.
And it was 3 weeks, less than a month.
Less than a month. Yanks it. Says no more. They pull it off the shelves. A month ago, they brought it back. Now they announce that next week they're going to kill the Kin servers. It's dead again.
That's okay. Then in a month they'll bring it back.
I think we just blame it on the name. It's just a bad name.
The Kin is bad. I agree with her.
I like the Kin.
I'm my Kin. It sounds like, well, I got this thing down here. I'm in the deep south, and I'm using a Kin. What? Your Kin's got something there coming over for dinner? I mean, it just has the southern, the dumb South sound, not the smart South like most of them. See, I'm wearing a Kentucky thing. I'm okay.
I'm sorry. It's January 31st. The Kin studio will close permanently on January 31st. Basically, if you have a Kin and you don't have the studio, the feed reader stops working. Search Near Me stops working. Posting photos to social sites stops working.
It's like everything you want to do.
Pictures on the Kin will only appear at thumbnail resolution. Posting to social networks will no longer work. No comments from the Loop social network contacts will disappear. Loop will stop to work. Kin Spot will only send to email. Social networks only access from web browsers. So basically,
you can basically turn the device on.
Calls?
It can make phone calls.
Okay.
This proves to me that Microsoft has a bunch of these departments. They don't know what each other's doing. These guys are probably shutting it out. And then there's a memo going around right now. And they're saying, what? The thing is selling again? Nobody told us.
We shut it down. Callie, I had a girlfriend, speaking of returning software, I had a girlfriend who used to buy shoes. She'd go to Nordstrom, buy shoes. She would put black tape on the bottom of them, wear them to an event, and then take the tape off so that the shoes looked like they were unworn and return them the next night.
Right.
You ever hear of that?
Except for the stench from the shoes.
I have been known to do that for the show. Just clothes for the show. You know, I've done that a few times.
Right,
but
because you can't afford it. Women are expected to wear a new outfit every show. You can't afford to. You can't afford to do that. I'm wearing the same outfit I wore for the last 5 days. Nobody even notices.
One notices. People notice.
It's a black shirt.
They comment on my wardrobe every single show.
It's just not
I've seen
fair.
that great top before.
I have too, actually. Could you?
Yeah, why don't you take it off?
Come on, Callie. But no, she's not wearing any shoes.
What am I saying?
And by the way,
there are a lot of people that go around and they leave their tabs on. You know, you leave the little. What's the matter, Will? They leave their little things on, and then you just go and you.
It all went downhill. I'm sorry. I started it. It's my fault.
He's the guy with
your fault.
You're the guy with the by permission of Her Majesty the Queen insignia on your blue
And what
shirt.
is with its Jimmy Wales facial hair? I mean, are you trying to get some? You have to use a special shaver to keep it that way.
It's a personal appeal.
Try this. We'll just say
it's a personal appeal. I'd like some money.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Wales with a personal appeal.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Wales, and I have a personal appeal. It seems that recently, WikiLeaks has been getting a lot of press, and we'd like you to talk about that other wiki, Wikipedia. We have no money.
Can't you see him? Can't you see him like off the air, but at home, saying it's not even a wiki? Why do they call it a wiki? There is a new, some of the people from WikiLeaks.
I can't believe it's not wiki.
I can't believe it's not wiki. That's good. Some of the people from WikiLeaks are actually splitting off, and they're calling it Open Leaks. They're going to do a different leak. It's a leak of a different color that they're going to do. It's Open Leaks.
Open Leaks. Sounds like somebody knocked over the outhouse.
This sounds like shtick, but it's actually all true.
Well, on tech news today, this week we had, I think, the invention of something that I thought was even better, which was WikiLeaks, a website for great photos of your favorite vegetables.
Leeks.
Yeah.
Someone
WikiLeaks.
else has it in the chat room. We got Leaky Wiki.
Leaky Wiki. Leaky Wiki.
There are all sorts of possibilities with this.
Let's talk about.
Is this a good time to segue to the WikiLeaks stories?
I think we should, but let's do it after the break because I do think we should. This, in all seriousness, this is a serious story, and I think that I want help. I want you guys to talk me down here, or explain to me, or maybe Barney can help. I don't know. Explain to me whether this is good or bad. Because I'll tell you what, everybody at Le Web, everybody in France was saying, the Americans, they are censoring the internet. This is terrible. And everybody in the United States says WikiLeaks is treason. And I want to know, which
that's
is
not
it?
true.
Okay.
No.
That's not true.
John,
There's definitely a dichotomous opinion about WikiLeaks in this country.
Oh, yes.
And
I thought
there's
the French
a lot of smart
government was
Don't
people
start the
around.
conversation. Hold on.
Calm down, John.
Got to do a commercial, John, okay? Because I want to get out. I
That's
want
a
to.
segue. Oh, I see. That was a teaser.
That's a tease. If you want to hear more, just fast forward to the next commercial. No, don't.
Leo.
Somebody told me that you shouldn't do teases in podcasts
I think it was me.
because it's not live. People could just go, oh, yeah, I guess 30 seconds later we'll get back to WikiLeaks. So,
No, I don't think people do as much fast forwarding as you might think they do.
no. And in fact, I know
I
they
agree
don't.
with that. It's just too much work.
It's too much work.
Yeah,
And
it is.
You got to get it out of your pocket, and then you got to take your gloves
Yeah.
off because it's cold. And I never fast forward anything. I always listen to you all the way through. Liam.
And I
so
will
should
stick
everybody else.
At some point in the next 60 seconds, I'm going to stick in the funniest joke you've ever heard right in the middle of the Carbonite commercial. So you just don't know. If you fast forward, you don't know what you're missing.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Quick. Eileen, I need a joke. She's going, I do want to. This is not a joke. This
John
is
C.
serious.
Dvorak.
I had a guy call me.
Sorry, that was the joke.
I had a guy call me the radio show. He's called me a couple of times on the radio show. He says, "Hi, this is Larry. I'm the high-tech redneck." I said, "Hi, Larry." He's serious. Too. He called me. I was a high-tech redneck. He said, "I got this new thing. It's called the V-beam. It uses the UBS." I swear to God, I have the recording. I am not making this up or making it sound worse. He called. He said, "The UBS. You like this V-beam?" I said, "I haven't played with the V-beam yet." "Oh, you're gonna like it." He's the high-tech redneck.
He should have his own show.
I think he actually does.
Oh.
He calls the radio. Is that you, Will? Or is that John?
It's not
Where
me.
did John go?
Does this? He's disappeared.
He left for the commercial.
It's too bad because I was about to give him a MacBook Air, but I guess.
Yeah,
Well.
right.
So he's just sitting there behind a piece of paper. He's still there. He's just got a piece of paper up. What are you picking your nose? What are you doing?
Oh, that's a good image.
All right, let me talk about Carbonite.com. Now that we've had a little moment. The holidays are here, and I got to tell you, I get calls every single radio show from people who say, I got a call today from a guy who said, yeah, I burned all my pictures to CD. Then I deleted the pictures. But now I can't read the CDs. What do I do? And I'm thinking, that's not a backup. If you only have one copy, I don't care if it's like on a disc you name backup. If you have one copy, that's not a backup. So I had to explain to him and my friend Peter Krog's the guy who came up with this, the 3-2-1 backup. This is a big, very important concept. If you get one concept out of this show, this is the one. If you can, he's got a great website he did with the Library of Congress and the Association of Professional Photographers. It's called dpbestflow.org, and there's a backup article there. Now he says, here's the deal: you got to have it if you want. And photographers, look, you take a wedding, you do a wedding shoot. You cannot lose those pictures. They're not going to have another wedding. That's it. Or a baby, or Christmas, or Hanukkah, or what, the holidays are here. You don't want to mess with these pictures. So he says, here's the deal. If you want to make sure you never lose data, 3 copies of everything. That can be the original and 2 backups. That's fine. 3 copies, though. 2 of them, 2 different formats. So hard drive and DVD, or, but 2 different formats. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And the final, and this is the most important thing, one of them has to be off-site. If you put everything, the backups next to your computer, and the house burns down, there's a tornado or an earthquake or somebody breaks in and steals everything, it's all gone, including the backup. So off-site's very important. That's why I love Carbonite. It's automatic off-site backup to the cloud, as Microsoft would say. Mac or PC, $55 a year. That's 15 cents a day for everything that's on your internal hard drive. Unlimited backup of your personal data on your internal hard drive. But you could try it free for 2 weeks right now. You don't need a credit card. In fact, I really encourage you to try it free so you can see how this works. Once you install it, Carbonite just starts backing up. Doesn't get in your way, waits till the computer's idle, uses your connection to upload to the internet. It's great for a laptop because wherever you are, when you're online, even in a hotspot, it'll be backing up. And because it uses 128-bit SSL, you're absolutely secure, private. You can even add additional encryption, triple DES or blowfish, so your data will be absolutely private. And here's the best part. You can get to that data from anywhere, anytime. You log on to your Carbonite account on any computer, there's your data. Use the free iPhone app, there's your data. The BlackBerry app, there's your data. You're never at risk of losing anything. This is the perfect backup. Automatic, off-site, accessible anywhere. Try it free for 2 weeks. Just use the offer code TWiT, Carbonite.com. Offer code TWiT. If you decide you like it, I want you to try before you buy, but if you decide you like it, you'll get 2 months free if you use the offer code TWiT. So it's even more affordable. Carbonite.com. You got to back it up to get it back, so do it right with Carbonite. Now, John's removed the magic shield. Highness.
Leo?
Yes, Callie?
One slip in the chat room wants to know where the joke was.
Yeah. Where was it, Leo? It's probably over there sitting by my MacBook Air.
That was a joke. I don't know.
So here's the stuff I want. Everyone always wants a little tip from me regarding wine and food.
Okay, and now it's time for John C. Dvorak's Wine and Food Kimchi Corner.
This stuff. Whoop, how's it go?
Don't eat that
this
crap.
Stuff.
That's disgusting.
KJ's kimchi is outstanding.
Did they pay
What
you?
is it?
Do you know, tell Callie what kimchi is.
She doesn't know what kimchi is?
Tell her
you don't know
what
what
it
kimchi is?
It's buried.
Kimchi
it's
is
cabbage.
a rotten cabbage.
It's cabbage that's been buried underground.
Well, that's the really expensive stuff. Is that this is made in a factory?
The really good stuff.
It is bubbling. It's bubbling when you open it because it should be slightly carbonated.
Because
it's soaked. It's just soaked to death in these red chilies, and then you just eat it.
Go ahead. Let's see there.
I'll just go through the whole jar of it.
Oh, yum.
This stuff is so good. This brand.
This is the
because I've gone through
pinnacle
other
of
brands.
broadcasting right here.
I
This is
might
as
have
good
to
as it
make a
gets.
show out of tasting that
I got
crap.
the pinnacle of disgusting right here.
You don't like kimchi?
No, I love kimchi, actually. I was just teasing you. But I'm in France.
It stinks
I've
up the
done this-
house, though,
I've
by the
done
way.
this every time I've been in France. I think I speak French, and I don't. And I'm in a restaurant, and I'm reading a menu.
I do that.
And I see veau, and I know, well, that's veal. I don't notice that it says before the veau, riz de veau.
Oh,
Do you know what I'm talking? You know where I'm going
I have
with this?
no idea where you're going, but
Yeah.
it sounds bad.
Well, the last time I'm at Le Petit Zinc, great restaurant in France, but it's country French, and I see oreille de cochon, and which means literally pig's ear. But I thought, they're not. That couldn't be. It's a pastry. So what am I? I'm an idiot. I order it. It's a pig's ear.
Yeah,
Rubbery.
that's what that is. I've had it.
chewy. Okay,
Do you
so
eat it?
If you like, pig's ears are actually quite tasty. I think pig's feet are more interesting because they have more. There's a certain really great quality about a pig's foot. It has this gristle takes on a certain characteristic that you get, by the way, with well cooked barbecued pork ribs. You'll get certain pieces of this kind of the tendons that turn into this gelatinous weird matter. Very tasty.
So much for the segue, Will.
I think I've become a vegetarian. So
kimchi.
So I order riz de veau. Veal, love it. And by
riz
the
de
way,
veau.
very tender, delicious, wonderful. And then I realize, that's not veal cutlet.
What did you think it was?
Sweetbreads. It's thyroid
Yeah.
glands. No wonder it's tender.
Thymus gland mostly.
Thymus gland.
Yeah. Delicious.
Wow.
Actually was delicious.
And by the way, when you buy a duck from a Chinese place where they have the hanging ducks,
Yes.
you can buy a whole duck.
Yes.
That's barbecued or
Yes.
roasted.
Yes.
If you pull off the neck,
Yes.
you pull off the neck and you take the skin off of the neck that you pull off, you'll find a little bitty miniature sweetbread right in there. It's a little bitty pea size, a little smaller than a pea, and it tastes just like riz de veau. It's amazing. It's delicious. What?
But one more thing I'm going to say. British Airways, do not eat the food. Whatever you do, do not eat the. Am I right, Will Harris?
Yeah. Yeah, no, your fail was going on British Airways rather than Virgin Atlantic.
Do
which
not.
Has fantastic food.
Oh, great food on Virgin. I love Virgin in every aspect of life. Music.
I'm so excited that they opened up a
Are they in
flight
Dallas
from
now?
Dallas
Oh,
to
that's
the East
great.
Coast, or to the West Coast, sorry.
Definitely the way to fly, but do not fly British Airways. You know what they do on the menu? I'm in business class, too. This is not back in the back of the plane. This is the front of the plane. They put a little crown, very much like the insignia on your sweater, actually. They put a little crown on the menu, and it says, this is one of
By
our...
appointment to HM the Queen.
Yes, one of our most popular dishes brought back by popular demand. And I thought, oh, this is going to be good. And it was like a beef pie.
Oh, yum. Yuck.
You know that pig's ear? That was more tender than the I think it was shoe leather. It was a tongue.
You know, years ago, you flew first class, I guess.
Business.
Oh.
I've never flown first class in my life. What is that
Really?
like, John? Yeah,
Seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah, what it's like is you get Dom Perignon and you get all of the caviar and foie gras you can eat.
Really?
Seriously. Yeah. That's the only difference.
Cali, you fly first class all the time?
Oh, all the time. No, I've flown once. I got a free upgrade.
Somebody asked me today, did you go on your private jet to Paris? What do you
Yeah, how
think?
come you didn't take your private jet,
What do
Leo?
you think I am?
It's too, let me tell everybody, Leo, so you don't have to explain it. It's too expensive to fly your private jet, and you have to stop too many times, so that's why you wouldn't do it. Because normally Leo flies the private jet around the state.
Well, it doesn't have enough range to go to
private
France.
jets to the States. You got to stop. You got
You
to
gotta
stop
get
off
a
in
new
Europe
Gulfstream.
somewhere. North Sweden or something, and that's not really going to work.
No.
I have to say, I'm pretty sure I can top you all almost having eaten snail porridge a couple of weeks ago.
Wow, that sounds purely
That was
disgusting.
insane.
Why would you do that to a snail?
It was actually regular porridge, but the snails got to it. You didn't notice.
Why would you do that? Really, whose idea was to make porridge out of a snail?
I went to the Heston Blumenthal restaurant that's just outside London, which is supposed to be one of the best.
Guy.
And it's like, and so you have like snail porridge and all kinds of crazy things. It's like a 15-course meal or something. It's ridiculous.
WikiLeaks.
It's about time.
So now Julian Assange is in solitary confinement in your nation, Will Harris.
Yeah.
I thought they moved him, no?
Isn't he still in England? I know that they're talking about extradition
Still in
to the U.S., where he would be tried for treason. I think the Swedes want him, too.
How can he be tried for treason? He's not even an American citizen.
Right.
He committed,
That's the
apparently...
initial thing which Sarah Palin said, right, was this guy should be, like, tried for treason.
Right.
Without understanding that treason, you have to be, like, a citizen of the country that you're treasonous against.
He would be a spy, not treasonous.
crazy.
He would be a spy.
But he's not a spy. He hasn't done any spying.
He's not in the country. How's he a spy?
Like, this is the really interesting thing about WikiLeaks, which is what the heck is it?
It's the first...
how do you legally define this organization
It's the
in order to
first
prosecute it?
as Jeff J. Rosen said, it's the first transnational journalistic enterprise. It transcends...
Is it journalism, though?
About the International
Because
Herald
journalism
Tribune,
requires you
for
to
God's
report
sake.
something.
Okay.
It requires you to say something about it other than what it is. What they're doing is like data gathering and then providing the information to other journalists. I mean, in a way, what the New York Times did in republishing and commenting is equally as, you know, quote, treasonous, unquote, as what WikiLeaks did.
I wanted to get Doc Searles on.
Yes, Lieberman would like to get them too.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to get Doc Searles on because he wrote a fabulous article in which he said, "Where do you stop? You go after Assange, you go after WikiLeaks, you go after the New York Times. You shut down the internet." And this is the big.
Well, that's what they're after. That's what they want to do.
Well, and this is the thing that's scary is. Apparently, without legal authority, they've taken, they've put pressure on Amazon and PayPal, MasterCard. They've put pressure on hosting services. They effectively are doing something to WikiLeaks they wouldn't do to the New York Times. You wouldn't dare do to the New York Times.
Well, unofficially, they've done this sort of stuff. They haven't issued any things, and Amazon could have said, "Chuck it, we don't care." Right. Any of those people could have said anything. And in fact, the Amazon stuff is largely overblown because it sounds terrible. Amazon has kicked WikiLeaks off. Oh, what are we going to do? And the WikiLeaks stuff's all over the internet. Amazon wasn't hosting
right.
the WikiLeaks site. The stuff is all distributed in torrent files. It's all being replicated in the New York Times. And if you went through and looked at,
you cannot.
Well, hold on
if you
a
went
second,
through
Danny.
and Assange had done an interview and he was asked about it, and he was like saying, yeah, you know, we put our stuff all over the place, kind of like test cases. So really, I kind of got the feeling he might have been disappointed if Amazon had stood up for him. Actually,
well, hold on a second. Hold on.
He'd
You're
have been
missing a
happy
funny,
either way,
a funny
as long as he got
aspect.
some publicity about whatever pressure might have happened with Amazon. But being on Amazon was not essential for WikiLeaks to survive.
Go ahead, John.
There's the irony to this, and this being overlooked by most people, is that while Amazon did that, they brought out the entire file on the Kindle.
Did they really?
And they're
Amazon
selling
didn't do
it.
that.
They're selling. Oh, that's
yeah.
Well, somebody did it on a third party did it on Amazon.
Well, it still has to go through the system.
Right, Callie, go ahead. You got cut off.
Oh, I was just saying, I mean, some of this information that they're publishing, according to U.S. law, is actually illegal, right? So,
but that
you
doesn't mean
you can't take confidential information.
But that doesn't mean you can then say without any legal authority, oh, well, we're going to shut you down because it's illegal. They
Right,
could.
right.
If it's so illegal, how come somebody hasn't filed an indictment or something? There's nothing been going on. How's it? Somebody just says it's illegal. Why is there's nobody in jail?
That's the problem.
Well, there is somebody in jail. The guy who actually stole the material, allegedly. He's the one who
he was arrested.
He's the one who's alleged to have taken this material and leaked it out there, and he's in jail, and he's going to be in violation, you know, presumably from the U.S. government of laws against taking classified information when you're not authorized to do it.
And by the way,
and fair enough. If he's broken laws and taking information he wasn't allowed to take, then he takes his lumps with it, and that's why we have courts. The question is whether or not it's illegal to republish information that was seized by somebody else. And in the U.S., pretty much it has been no. You know, it's too bad. But, you know, if there's government information that is leaked out, the journalistic organizations have not been held liable for doing this.
It's like Daniel Ellsberg
around the
and the Pentagon Papers, right?
Well, exactly. And it all revolves around the Espionage Act, I guess, which is that you can decide if somebody is guilty of espionage or not. And maybe a journalist could fall to that or not, and nobody's applied it in this case. And in fact, it apparently has been very, very rarely ever applied to any publication. So I was reading one article that said it was maybe once in World War II against one publication they thought about using it, and they ended up giving up.
Now, I want to, first of all, there are plenty of places where this is being discussed from a political point of view and so forth. What I want to, because this is our beat, is talk about the technology angle. And really the concern I have is that that a federal agency would use its ability to censor a site is a threat to, it seems to me, a threat to the free and open internet. Now, here's the second part of it. Of course, there is a response, which is anonymous, you know, the anonymous, which is, of course, many people, DDoSing Amazon, DDoSing MasterCard, DDoSing PayPal. And The Guardian published an article asserting, in a sense, that this is the first global cyber war. Hackers, in fact, have said this is a war.
Yeah. Well, then it's been not much of one, and they haven't been winning anything.
Sucks.
Well, and Doc Searles pointed out, and I thought, well, he had a great article. Or no, I'm sorry, it was Dave Weiner had a great article who said, yeah, you know, whenever there's a war, both sides get rah, rah, rah. But the problem is then you get in the war and you really regret that you got in this war because it is not good for anybody. And I do have some concern. It sounds like, Danny, you're not too worried about the health of the internet as a result of all this.
No, I mean, I'm not happy about people having their domains taken away from them or the government putting pressure, but it's not. None of these things have actually happened through official government action. Until I get official government action actually doing this sort of stuff, that starts throwing my radar screens up a lot more. And, you know, we had 2 weeks ago, I think we had domains that were literally being seized by the U.S. government.
ICE. This is the Department of Homeland Security.
That's far more of a concern than WikiLeaks goes off and does some things, and private companies that, you know, are providing services decide, you know what, I don't want to be associated with this. Because there are lots of things private companies might not decide they want to be associated with, and they're private companies. They don't have to do that sort of thing. I'm probably most concerned over the fact that, you know, WikiLeaks had registered a .org domain, and it remains unclear to me exactly how that domain was taken away from them. I understand we don't own our domains, but the registrar, I don't know who it is, whether or not it was the registrar that sold it to them or whoever is in charge of .org domains that said you can't have that resolved anymore.
Right.
But things like Amazon or things like MasterCard or things like Visa, if they don't want to do these sorts of things, they shouldn't have the right not to do them in the same way that WikiLeaks should have the right to do what it wants. And, you can be all negative about it, or you could go say, well, we want to support other businesses that are actually supporting WikiLeaks. Is that what you like? The whole war overall has been like, okay, done nothing. If it was a war, it didn't cause MasterCard or Visa to put anything back online. It didn't cause Amazon to put anything back online. It was definitely, if you will, a cyber boycott in some ways. I tweeted once I couldn't tell whether or not I was feeling like people were boycotting lunch counters or boycotting buses or burning them down. And the burning down aspect of it I don't particularly like. But, there's a lot of upset going on about this when you actually start looking at the actual actions. The internet did not grind to a halt, nor did WikiLeaks drop off the face of the earth.
And I think it's also kind of, ironic that in response to the, sort of lack of free speech that these companies were not helping with, i.e., not supporting the WikiLeaks cause, the response to that from Anonymous was to try and take these sites offline, which seemed like the ultimate in freedom of information denial. It seemed completely sort of at odds with the whole ethos of what was going on there. I think, at the end of the day, there's debates today about whether Amazon has gone down in the UK this afternoon,
right?
Because of whether which mail may not have been anonymous or could have just been a random server bug, or the two could be vaguely interrelated. I think what we've seen is as Danny has said, has been just distinctly underwhelming. And I think that's good from everybody. It's underwhelming because nothing really substantial has happened to WikiLeaks. They're still around. They're still alive. All the data is still out there. Nothing really substantial has happened to MasterCard or PayPal or Visa. And that seems like a pretty good thing. The whole thing seems just
Doesn't seem like a good thing to me.
A lot of saber rattling and not a lot of actual sort of results on the end of it, which on the whole seems probably like the best outcome.
What would you like to see, John?
Well, I don't like Visa and MasterCard to begin with. I think they're onerous. I think the government has already, caved into their ridiculous interest rates and the whole schemes that they set up and all the fact that they have a special legislation now. So if you rack up your credit card bill and you go bankrupt, the credit card bill stays intact. It doesn't even affect bankruptcy laws. I think it's a couple of basically corrupt operations. So if something happened to them that was bad, it wouldn't bother me.
But that should be dealt with a different way than...
Oh, no, I didn't say it shouldn't be dealt with this way or a different way. I agree with that. It said it should be dealt with by legislation. But I'm not going to say, well, it's a good thing nothing happened to them.
Okay, fair enough.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
What?
I don't understand why you were in the web.
What?
You were at the web, Leo. I don't understand why PayPal was booed.
Oh, because they were fairly disingenuous. Let me see if I could find the quote. But first of all, you have to understand, and I was really interested, as I mentioned earlier, that there seemed to be almost unanimity, at least at the web, of support for WikiLeaks. It was just not even a question. Let me see if I can...
PayPal had every right to do what they did.
Well,
I probably would have done the same thing had I been.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think it's really easy. I mean, I think it's important, but not necessarily easy to distinguish between what WikiLeaks is and what they have done and what the things are that have happened as a consequence of that. WikiLeaks is an organization for publishing data that has been provided to them somewhere that is available, and on the basis of it is sort of a whistleblowing. And if we look back to there seems to have been a massive storm around this set of information. Actually, the previous couple of sets of information that they released were much more controversial. Do you remember the video of the American helicopter shooting at the civilians, which didn't attract this level of kind of controversy, which to me seems crazy. But I think what people are missing here is that the single wrongdoer in this action. The single wrongdoer is the person who took the classified material and gave it to someone out of the US classified network. That person, as we understand it, is being dealt with. That should basically be end of story. in terms of the morality of this. Whether or not WikiLeaks is wrong or right or any of those kind of things, WikiLeaks is essentially a neutral entity. It's just providing data out there.
Let me, this is what happened at Le Web. Milo Yiannopoulos was interviewing PayPal's vice president of platform, Osama Bedier. And the first question from Milo is why PayPal blocked WikiLeaks payments and froze its account. The question, it says, was met mostly with boos from the European audience, essentially booing PayPal's action. Bedier said he made it seem like PayPal had complied with a governmental request to deny service to WikiLeaks. We have an acceptable use policy, and their job is to make sure that our customers are protected, making sure that we comply with regulations around the world and protect our brand. This really got the crowd upset. Later, he clarified and said the State Department did not, the U.S. State Department did not directly talk to PayPal. And he was referring to a letter sent to WikiLeaks by the State Department.
He actually changed his story on that.
He changed his story, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're not sure. We're not really sure what happened. TechCrunch has this down. They were really did a good job of covering actually Le Web and caught a number of things that I heard and didn't really register as scoops, including. And I'm sitting here listening to this conversation. Microsoft offered Mark Zuckerberg $15 billion for Facebook. With a B.
Yesterday?
No, not yesterday. No, because they're not. No, obviously. This was back. Remember, Microsoft bought a small stake, I think a $240 million stake in Facebook. It was almost 2 years ago. Yeah, small. Well, it was, it turns out. But Fritz Landman, Microsoft's senior director of corporate strategy and acquisitions, was speaking at Le Web, and he said, he's talking, he said, yeah, we tried to acquire Facebook. Facebook had a lot of similarities to Microsoft back in the day.
What?
That kid Zuckerberg reminds me of me when I was his age.
I don't think there's any similarity.
Doesn't Zuckerberg remind you just of Gates?
He actually is a little bit.
He really does.
Yeah. Socially, anyway. I think. Yeah. You know what? I think he's smarter than Bill Gates. Maybe.
Oh, please.
Oh, yes. Maybe not as good a businessman. Maybe a little more. I think Bill Gates. I think it's almost opposite abilities. I think Bill Gates was smart enough. He reminds me a little of Steve Jobs. He was smart enough to nab an opportunity when it came to was a brilliant businessman. I think Zuckerberg, it's almost the opposite. I think he has kind of a tin ear when it comes to how people are going to react to what he says, but I think he's quite brilliant, and I think he's thinking very deep thoughts about social and what it means, and I think the proof is in the pudding. The reason Facebook is so amazingly successful is because Zuckerberg has actually done some really clever tapping of human drives. I don't think Bill Gates had that kind of insight. I think Zuckerberg does. I think Bill's a better businessman.
It's a different kind of thing. I mean, Bill Gates wasn't trying to tap into human drives.
No, I'm just saying they're not the same. I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying they're different. I don't think Bill Gates and Zuckerberg were anywhere near alike. I think they have very different skill sets. Almost complementary.
You said that Zuckerberg's smarter than Gates is what you said.
I think he is.
Okay.
I don't know Bill. You know Bill. I don't know Bill.
You value this kind of smart more than you value
I didn't say
Gates.
I didn't say it's better. I just say it's smarter. I think Bill gets a lot of credit for intelligence. I think he's very adept at business. I'm not convinced Bill Gates is that brilliant. Are you, John? You know him better than anybody. You're his best buddy.
He's hardly. I've been to a couple of baseball games with him, if that means anything.
Did he follow the game well? Was he able to see what's going on? I mean, that's a
mark of intelligence.
I think so. Have you ever watched a baseball game, Will? It's incomprehensible.
God.
Wow. Anyway, I think Bill's very sharp. Yeah, and he thinks deeply, and
he's
also
smarter than me. I'm not saying
he's very competitive. He's very competitive. He's more competitive than anything.
That's okay. I'm not saying he's stupid. Believe me, he's smarter than I am. But I think more his skill set was he's competitive. He's got a brilliant business mind.
You actually may be smarter than him.
I doubt it.
The way I'm seeing it, I have a better chance of getting that MacBook Air from Gates.
I got a great notebook. It's black. It's matte. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Just for you, waiting for you.
It runs Linux. I'll use it.
Facebook. So he said when Facebook rejected Microsoft's $15 $15 billion offer. This, I mean, that was a good offer. Microsoft invested $240 million for a small stake in the company. So that's cojones. I mean, Groupon turns down Google's $6 billion offer. Facebook turns down Microsoft's $15 billion. Wouldn't that
$6 billion wasn't actually a very good offer for Groupon, though. I mean, if we're going slightly off topic.
No, let's talk about it.
What do you think should be worth more?
Because they had such a they're going to have revenues. I think I read somewhere into 1 to 2 billion.
They claim that
this year.
500,000
million, 500 million versus.
I mean, I'm sorry, 500 million.
Yeah.
Now I acting like
I've
you.
seen both numbers. I've seen both numbers, but they claim we saw that 500 million number. In fact, I think we talked about it a couple of weeks ago. But
that's total revenues.
But yes, not profit revenues. Although it's probably mostly profit. What are they spending?
No, it's not. They got a lot of people.
They got to print out a coupon.
A lot of salespeople.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. They probably do. But they claim almost $2 billion in revenue. That's a lot.
There's no way.
The fact that these companies need salespeople is kind of like the most unknown thing. I think people don't realize like how many salespeople Google has. Like, people sort of imagine that Google AdWords is just this thing where people log on and make all these ads and Google makes all this money. They have floors and floors and floors and floors of salespeople.
Oh, I know. I got a call.
They do, but the key difference between Google and Groupon is that those salespeople aren't going out and actually bringing in new clients. I mean, Groupon salespeople are going out and actually making deals, and Google salespeople are really just servicing clients that already have come to them directly. And that was one, I think, of the key things that Google would have gotten with Groupon was this ability to get out to local merchants that it wants in a way that it just has not succeeded in doing.
That's a very good point, yeah. Hey, let's take a break. Come back. We got lots more to talk about in just a second, and the funniest joke you ever heard. But first, I think that's pretty funny right there. That could be it.
That will count, Leo.
That's the best you're going to get. I want to talk a little bit about Ford. Our good friends at... Did Barney
dropping stuff?
Yeah. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, John, but it looks like you drooled a little bit on the sweatshirt.
I spilled some kimchi juice, and so I had to get up and wash it off before it set.
So, are you saying that fermented cabbage will set?
Yeah, it'll stink. I mean, the stuff. As much as I like this stuff, it stinks. Okay, I'll go get a different sweatshirt. Everyone's bitching about it.
I just want to point out that there will be no durian consumption during this commercial.
That's coming.
If you've ever ridden in the Singapore subway, you know what I'm talking about. We were out at Ford. When were we out? We were out there in July, right? That was so much fun. Went to the Maker Faire there at the Henry Ford Museum. But the best part for me was a tour of the Rouge plant. I mean, this is... I was talking... Actually, I think it was over... I overheard this conversation on the plane yesterday. A guy was talking about Ford, just kind of independently saying, I think Ford is single-handedly getting America out of recession. This is a company that's really was an industrial giant at the turn of the century. Henry Ford built the Rouge plant. The idea was trains pull up with iron ore, lumber, raw materials, unload at the other end of the plant, this ginormous plant. I think it's 1 mile by 1.5 miles. No, I'm sorry, 1 3/4 miles long, half a mile wide. At the other end comes out Model Ts. In goes ore and lumber, out comes Model Ts. Brilliant. It's still there. It's going. We were able to, I hope you saw the video, to get down there on the truck, on the assembly line. I actually rode the assembly line, which was so cool, as they're making the Ford F-150 trucks. This was one of their green plants. The building rooftops are covered with a succulent that keeps the facility cool in the summer, creates oxygen, reduces energy costs. It's just a really cool company that is working very hard to be part of the 21st century and to keep industrial America alive. And man, the products they're making. You've heard about the EcoBoost V6 engine in that SHO. It's a 6-cylinder engine with all the horsepower of an 8-cylinder. And the gas mileage, real economy of a 6. 365 horsepower. The new 2011 Fiesta, we've talked about that, the most fuel-efficient compact car on the road today. It's a gas car with 40 miles per gallon. I have to say, if you've not driven a Ford, test drive a Ford and see. If you haven't seen the Fords lately, you've been missing out on something really great. I love my Mustang, the Ford Sync in them. And I do want to mention, because we're running out of time, December 31st is the deadline, the 2012 Ford Focus Global Test Drive. You could win a trip to Madrid, Spain, for you and a friend to test drive the all-new Focus coming out in early 2011. Ford will also donate $10,000 to the charity of your choice if you win. Here's how you enter. You go to twitfordfocus.com. It's a Facebook page, and you'll submit a video under 2 minutes. You have till the end of the year to do it, saying, A, what cause you'd like to support, and B, why you should go to Madrid to test drive the Ford Focus. I saw the Ford Focus. I don't know if you saw Kelly at Blog World. What a sweet automobile. Just a gorgeous car. You could be going to the Spain's National Institute for Aerospace Technology. Kelly, I'm still holding out for an invitation to do this. I really want to go.
I made a video. I probably shouldn't be saying this on your ad, but I made a video for them.
Awesome. So that's on that
fun.
Facebook page, twitfordfocus.com. You can see it.
It's not there, but
it's not there. Well, how do you expect to win?
Well, you vote. I'm going to get booed off this show for saying this, but you vote over at Revision 3.
That's okay. That's okay. I like them too. They're my buddies. So it's at revision3.com/geekbeat.
Ford Focus, actually.
/Ford Focus. Okay, but when you do that, vote there.
I'd love to see a video that you make.
They didn't ask me to make a video. I just want to go to Spain.
You know what? They'll probably just let you.
I just want to go. I'll escort you to Spain. How about that?
That would be awesome.
Wouldn't that be cool? Anyway, you can win. Go to twitfordfocus.com. Make sure you say, I saw this on Twitter. Put it in the video so that that way we get some credit instead of Revision 3.
Yes.
And don't forget to drive the new Taurus SHO or the Ford Fiesta or the beautiful Edge, their most technologically advanced car, right now at your favorite Ford dealer. And we thank Ford so much for their support. I have to say, I want to thank them not just for their support of TWiT, but of new media in general. I mean, they're a big supporter of Revision 3. They get it. Scott Monty, Scott Kelly, the gang, they just really get it. And
Lee, I'd like to think that I'm contributing to that, having bought a Ford Focus.
Awesome.
So the money comes from me, I guess, to Ford, then back to you.
Right. I get every
so
penny.
I guess that all kind of works out well.
It's actually in the contract. When Will buys anything, we get some of it. No, you
Ford is
drive
doing an amazing job.
Now you don't drive the new Focus, obviously, because that's not out yet.
I have the Focus RS, which is what the Focus 2011 is based on.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be their world card. This actually is very, it's Alan Mulally, a brilliant visionary, the CEO of Ford, who said, we're going to make one car that's global. So we're going to use the best ideas from around the world, because in the past, and it's great cost, they have different cars for different markets. Yeah. And he said, I think we could make one car that serves serves the world. And you like it?
Yeah. Oh, the Focus RS is an absolute dream. I bought it about 9 months ago, and it's just it's incredible. It also has like the sort of precursor, I think, to the Ford Sync stuff that's in it, but it works really well. And it's an awesome driver's car.
The new Focus has My Ford Touch, which is like the Ford Sync Plus. It's got the 8-inch screen. It's got 2 screens. I mean, it's really slick.
It looks good.
I think Will's after that
yeah, but
MacBook Air.
John, I'm going to say this, John.
The
as a man who
MacBook Air, isn't it, Will?
Anything. John, you are not a man that spends your own money on anything. I spent a lot of my own money on this car, and it was well worthwhile.
Yeah, I want one too. It's really a beautiful car.
You've got a hot Mustang. You've got a souped-up Ford Mustang. Isn't that enough promotion?
I love my Mustang. I bought that. Hey, John.
Are you going to take the Mustang and then put a towing thing on it and tow around the little Ford?
Hey, that's a good idea. I just want you to know, Ford did not give me that car. I paid full retail price for that car.
I thought you got a deal.
Well, I mean, I got the best deal I could by negotiating with the dealer, but I didn't say to them, hey, by the way, I'm going to be doing some ads for... Actually, I did, and they said, yeah, well, that's nice, but it's still going to cost you this much.
So does my brother.
Yeah, right. I do ads for Ford all the time in my living room. What do you want?
In the chat room says I should be asking you for a Mustang.
You should. Forget the MacBook Air. Actually, you know what? I'll give you the old Mustang so I can get the new 2012 or the 2011.
Yeah, okay. It's a deal.
The new 5.0 is so sweet. Oh, boy.
Hey,
they got
John,
that new engine.
Heard that, so when he does not give
it's one of the top 10 engines in the world, that new engine.
Really?
There's a dual overhead valve thing. It's just it's like an Italian engine.
Yeah, and it's smooth for all that power. It's so much torque. Twitter is used by. Okay, this is good. Don't look at your show notes. I'd like to ask, what would your guess be? What percentage of Americans use Twitter? 50%? 20%?
No.
Okay.
8%.
Lower.
8%. You
Lower.
looked. You cheated.
No, I did that story the other day.
Oh, you all are like too smart for me. I was in France. I didn't know anything. 8% of online Americans use Twitter. You would think with all the coverage it gets, it'd be like everybody uses Twitter.
You know, I look at this from a very selfish standpoint. This means that a lot of people still have the ability to use Twitter, to sign up for Twitter and use it, which means all of us get more followers, right?
No, I think we already got the nerds that we're going to get. Nobody else is going to follow us.
We all want more followers. How many followers do you have, Callie? You must have millions of followers.
Well, that's because she got listed and Leo didn't get listed. Callie, you should be ashamed of yourself.
I never got listed. I'm at 103,000.
See, she came by them honestly.
Well, who's the one who got into the millions that we know?
Kevin Rose, Veronica.
Veronica. She got listed and boom, million.
I'm so jealous.
Don't you be dissing my Veronica.
I love Veronica.
She thinks you hate her.
You keep calling her Victoria. She hasn't spoken to me since I said she wasn't a geek.
Heights of triple digits. Triple-digit thousands is like a faraway dream.
Yeah, someday it will. What is your Twitter handle?
How nice of you to ask. Will Harris with one L.
That's the problem. You misspell it.
Right.
If I misspell my name.
Yeah. If you spelled your name properly with 2 L's, like any sensible William, is it not short for William?
It is, yes.
So what the hell's the story with the 1 L? I mean, there's 2 L's in William, am I right? Or do you spell it W-I-L-I-A-M?
No. There are 2 L's in William. The reason I always shortened it to Will is because when I was a kid, you know, when you're doing like arcade machines, there's only ever like three letters to enter your thing. And because I've got 2 middle names, so I can't even use my initials, I was just like, I'll just make it W-I-L. And then it just kind of stuck.
That's an awesome story.
You should have considered the Twitter before you did that. That's all I can say.
But I bet he has better Google ranking than any other Will Harris.
That's true. That's a good point. If you were W-I-L-L Harris, you'd be a million. There'd be a million of you in Google.
Yeah,
so that's true.
Actually, that's true.
There's a side effect. According to Pew, I just like saying it. Pew, 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 pew. Pew Research Center's Internet and American Life Project. 8% of online Americans use Twitter. 74% of adults in the U.S. This is U.S. are online, 18 and older. So if you include all the people online, it's about 6% of the entire adult population that uses Twitter. Women use Twitter more than men do. 10% of women use the service compared to 7% of men. 18% of Twitter users are Hispanic. Is that higher than the percentage in the general population, or is that about the same? I think it's a little higher. 13% black. I know that's higher. 5%. What? 18% of users are Hispanic, 13% are black, 5% are white. No, there must be a... No. That's a typo.
Doesn't add up.
Yes, only 5% of Twitter users are white. Thank you very much. Good night, everybody. I think that must be 5-0. I don't know. People who tweet are more likely to be urban and have had some college education. The majority of people on Twitter are between the ages of 18 and 29. The older you get, the less likely you are to use the service, which means, John, you and I are way too old to be tweeting.
Are we?
Yes, we are.
Huh.
Yeah. You know what? We're like those old guys on the Muppet Show that sit up in the balcony, John, you and me.
Yeah, what's the name of those 2 guys? Statler and the other guy.
Statler and Waldorf.
Yeah.
Waldorf.
Hey, yeah. Waldorf, what about that Twitter?
He stinks.
That's what I think. 1/4 of Twitter users check in multiple times a day. How many of you?
Leo, that thing you didn't get on the whites, what they're saying is 8% of all internet users are, in general, use Twitter. So 8% of the people who use the internet use Twitter. But what they're saying is 13% of the blacks on the internet use Twitter, as opposed to 5%.
I see. 5% of the total white population.
That's clear as mud.
So it's out of proportion.
So basically,
much more use.
Black people and Hispanic people are much more likely to use Twitter than white people.
Yes, and
Isn't
apparently
that
even more
interesting?
than Asians who don't even get a mention.
I don't
But-
even see Asians. There are no Asians.
Asians hate Twitter.
It's widely known that Asians do not use Twitter. I think that's why. I think that's safe to
I
say.
actually had a conversation.
There's a joke in there. Everyone can write it themselves.
That's right. That's the funniest joke you ever heard. Go ahead, Callie.
No, I actually had a conversation with someone who was talking about how they don't use it because they're afraid of it. They're afraid of any kind of location-based or very social networking kind of sites, which I found was really interesting.
So here's the
Why they would be afraid of it.
one of the things that I said when I was a little gruntled was that these social networks just seemed like big echo chambers where everybody's shouting at once, and nobody's listening, and this might confirm it. According to the report, 1 in 5 Twitter users never ever check for new material on the site. They don't read anybody else's posts. 20% of them.
That's not. That's
What do they do?
I don't believe that.
How do they not do that? They have to see their.
They tweet, but they never
timeline.
talk. They never listen. That's like me. I talk, but I don't listen.
What?
Huh? That Twitter, he's not gonna amount to nothing. According to this report, Twitter users more or less use the service for anything and everything. Oh, that's an insight. Oh, brilliant. In Pew's words, pew, 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 Twitter users post a wide range of content to the site. Somebody's getting paid for this.
And I have to. There are a lot of analysts that just you could basically like have an analyst report generator, and just put some kind of really general.
Ooh, I like that idea.
Phrases,
Yeah.
and just start spewing it out because the number of
analyst
you see these people that
report
report on
generator.
Apple, like analysts report that Apple's new iPad will have a high density screen and a camera.
I
and
saw
you
that
go,
report.
Wow, no, shoot, Sherlock.
Stop the presses.
Whoa. Nearly 3/4 of Twitter's users say they post updates related to their personal life, activities, or interests. 1 in 5 Twitter users say they post personal updates once a day or more. 1/2 of users post, I'm so sick of this. I'm going to just close this tab. That's it.
Thank you.
Boom. Booyah. That tab is closed. FCC.
So I went.
Go ahead, John.
So,
I'm sure
you're
it's
done with
much
that,
more
right?
interesting than anything I could possibly bring up.
So I went to Costco and bought a huge thing of batteries. You get these huge battery packs,
It's like a
so I can load up. What are you gonna do? This is I have to use half of the pack.
How many batteries does Barney require?
Let's see, 1, 2, about 45.
No.
And he's loaded to the gills with batteries. So I got him loaded up again. So I'm going to give you a treat today for people out there watching on the video screen.
This
You push
is
the
so
button.
Exciting. Yeah.
Oh, this is interesting.
Oh, he better not sing that song.
He does.
Oh no.
John has
Could I
a
take my
million.
I must have
I'm
a
gonna take my
battery in
earbuds off.
backwards.
Oh, jeez.
All right, you got lucky.
You got 45 batteries and one of them is wrong.
You got lucky.
Oh, jeez.
You got lucky. All right,
If-
next
if,
topic.
Whilst we're on segues, can I just point out that Gawker appears to have been drastically
Oh,
hacked?
yes. This is actually a big story. Why don't you tell us what happened?
Thank you, Will.
Well-
Will, you are just keeping this on track,
Sorry,
aren't you?
I'm
And
trying
by
to
the way,
save this for
Gawker is-
Barney here by just
he
interjecting
wants to
the
go.
first story I could think of.
By the way, Gawker is Lifehacker, Gizmodo, of course, Gawker, Valleywag. This is Nick Denton's blog.
Yeah, the massive kind of Uber blog network, which appears to have had its password and sort of user database just brute forced.
You know what's interesting is
As,
initially they denied it. They said it didn't happen. Then they said, no, everything's encrypted. You're safe. And now they're finally admitting. Oh, and you know why? Because this data is starting to be released. Yeah. I guess they got you. Yeah, I guess they got your password. Hey.
So what did they do?
Work out is what they can do with it. So they've got your username, email, and password for the Gawker website.
Yeah, big deal. Unless, as many people do, you use the same
It's the
password
same.
for everything.
Not
Right.
just Gawker though, Gizmodo as well.
Right. So so I would be easy thing for a criminal to write. He could either do that or write a analyst report generator. Either way, a little thing that parses through all the different passwords and sees somebody that has the same password for all Gawker sites. And now that's a pretty good bet that person also will have the
Has the
same
same
password for
login for
Google
Amazon
and Yahoo and
or for-
Amazon.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So these have been,
basically
it's been
1.5
released, but
million.
are there any reports of them actually?
Too early. They just got this just happened. So
Okay.
Literally like a couple of hours ago.
Yeah.
So apparently, oh God.
Oh no, John.
It's funny how much Danny Sullivan sounds like Barney.
I've been Barney free. I never had to deal with Barney with any of my kids. I was happy to.
How did you do that?
This is the most exposure I've ever had to
How
them.
did you do that? You lucky fella.
They grew up in Britain. We didn't have Barney.
Clever.
Wait, there's some way of
You had
killing him.
Teletubbies. That's worse.
There it
They
is.
avoided Teletubbies as well.
Oh.
I don't know how
So now
involved
would
the
be a
builder was
very
all the
good time
madness. Then.
to tell people to change their passwords on other sites.
Yes.
I presume.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. That's a risk. So Bill Gates, the smartest man in the world, and Warren Buffett, the second, I'm sorry, not smartest, richest. And Warren Buffett, the second richest man in the world.
I thought Carlos Slim was the richest guy now.
And that's right, the Mexican telecom billionaire with the best name in the world. I am the richest man in the world, and my name is Carlos Slim.
Exactly.
I have a little mustache, and I am a lover of women. Come to me. I don't know where. I don't know
That's
where
going straight on my Leo soundboard.
I don't know where we go from there.
That's a good one.
So, Gates.
Callie's flabbergasted.
Callie's like, no.
I thought it was a picture over there. For
Callie's no.
Yeah, I put a picture of myself up so I could walk away.
Yeah, no.
You should. That's what I would have done by now.
No, not gonna do it. Gates and Buffett have this giving pledge list where they ask the world's richest people to make a commitment to donate at least half of their fortune before they're dead to, charitable causes.
Is this a moving target since people will get richer and poorer throughout life?
Interesting. At least so far, 16 other households have joined Gates and Buffett, saying, yes, we're going to give away half of our holdings, however much they are. And Gates said he's going to give away all but like $1 billion or $2 billion, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
I think he's been making money on this deal.
Keep $1 billion or so. You'll be fine, Mark Zuckerberg has pledged. He says people wait until late in their career to give back, but why wait when there's so much to be done? Bravo, Mark Zuckerberg. His current net worth.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, he's 26. Good for him. Most 26-year-olds are not thinking about, charity.
Publicity stunt.
Well, yeah, it's a good time to be doing that.
Yeah, but
he's committed.
Half your fortune isn't a publicity stunt.
What about, remember Ted Turner committing all that money and then they call him on it like 5 years later? I'll get to it later.
Yeah, whatever happened?
Rich guys
I tend to
talk
get
a big game.
frustrated with people who are like so open and so public about their giving, because I tend to think it's something you do privately.
Yeah,
exactly.
You don't let the left hand know what the right hand is doing.
No, you don't sit around bragging about what you're going to. I'm going to give him $1 billion. I pledge right now I'm going to give $1 billion if I happen to have $1 billion when I die.
If you've got so much wealth in the hands of so few people, there's something to be said. And,
I agree.
And I like about the idea of, all right, we're going to put some peer pressure on you. And
How about
really get
another
you out
idea?
to do
Instead of gouging the public to such an extreme that you can accumulate $100 billion, maybe give the public a deal on your product.
Yeah, but I don't really understand what kind of a discount I'm supposed to get on Facebook.
Facebook's free.
Anything.
Yeah.
Well, how about no ads?
It didn't cost me anything, so I guess they could discount it by 50%. But
so
Facebook, you got me. But with the Bill Gates situation, I mean, come on, the software is overpriced.
Let's watch.
Well, you can't tell somebody that they can't make as much money as they can. I mean, there are two sides to that, but. I mean, you can't. They're being.
I know. There's an apologist for this everywhere. Every time you turn around, so you can't ever beat this argument. But
I think John.
The fact of the matter is, they've accumulated a lot of money somehow.
I think John is a closet socialist.
See, name calling. First thing they do to you.
Socialist. So Carl Icahn has agreed. Michael Milliken, didn't he go to jail for like junk bond fraud?
John, Michael Milliken was set up.
Oh, Okay.
It was Boesky who was the bad actor in that deal.
Okay, so Milliken just got a bad... Because, when he got out, he did a lot of good things. He had a bad wig, but he did a lot of great things.
Bad wig.
Oh, curly wig. Not a good idea. It looked like Bozo. Stephen Case, former chairman and founder of AOL. Theodore Forstman, former owner of Ziff Davis. Leon Cooperman, never heard of him. Nicholas Bergruen. All have committed to donating half of their family fortune. Now, we're waiting for Stephen Ballmer.
Yep.
We're waiting for Paul Allen. We're waiting for Oprah Winfrey. Where are they?
Not to mention Google.
The Google billionaires. Yeah. What about them?
How about Leo?
Though they do have their own
company.
I pledge to give one half of my G5 before I die. You can have the left
Make
processor.
a mockery of the whole thing.
I'll give him my Mustang.
Why don't you just give somebody a MacBook Air and you'll be done with it?
Oh, somebody. Who should I
and
give
they'd
him
be
an
indebted for such a long time you could humiliate them for a whole year.
John, he's going to wind up giving it to Will by the end of this.
Well, the way to get Will into this. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm ruining the show.
Actually, no. I
do they
have one
not
of the
sell
11s,
these where
and
you're
they
at?
are
Apparently, John is penurious.
God,
But Danny,
it's so
the
good.
problem is, Danny, I keep expecting to get one, so I'd feel like an idiot if I went out and bought one, and then there was one under the Christmas tree, so I have to wait.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you have to wait for your
They're
birthday.
worth
It's terrible, John, because they are so nice.
They really
Just
are.
that
Really
that I've
nice.
got is just it's
Everybody
just the
should
best
have
computer
one.
I've ever owned, and
It's so
every
light.
time I see somebody that doesn't have one, I just think, God,
so
they're
elegant.
So unlucky.
I mean, really, it's almost like you're really just kind of missing a part of your anatomy.
Although, to be serious, I really
It's sad.
the Air I ended up getting and didn't plan to get one, and I was like lost and without a computer for a couple days, and I had to have a computer, and I ended up really being surprised at how great it was. It is the kind of thing that actually you want the Google notebook
Right.
to be. It's this thing that I can turn. I don't really even think about charging it half the time. I've got all my cloud access that I need to have on it. It works really well. It's incredibly light. It is the kind of thing you think Google should have come out with.
I agree with you. It actually shocked me. It is somebody asked me what's actually Howard Lindzen asked me at dinner in Paris. What's your favorite gadget? And I said, actually,
Sounds like Larry King.
Howard is an interesting piece of work. Let me just put it that way. So what's your favorite technology? Who's your favorite interview? What's the best thing you ever did? What's the most money you ever gave away? How rich am I? And it was like, okay, Howard, is it always superlatives with you? But I said I was surprised myself. I said the MacBook Air, without a doubt, is the favorite thing I've ever had. It's all a boy could ever want. It's just a shame that John's not getting one. Want to promote our holiday special coming up Tuesday. We're going to record it live, and then we'll release it around Christmas time, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, 6:30 Eastern at live.twit.tv. Get this, for an all-star guest list: John Hodgman, Jonathan Colton, Paul and Storm.
What?
In that order.
That's the best you could do?
That's it. And Ricardo Montalban as Carlos Slim Chase.
Oh, my God.
If you would like to help us put together our best of for the holiday season, we're taking a week off after Christmas. We would love it if you would go to twit.tv/bestof and pick your favorite episodes. You could ask for a accent montage. You won't get one. You could ask for a MacBook Air, too. You won't get one, but, go there and ask for something.
Have some fun. Cover my heart.
I want to thank you, Will Harris, for joining us. Channelflip.com. Place to go for independent television in the UK and very, very fine food.
Jeez.
If anybody
Once it gets going, you can't stop it.
Revision 3 is the new place to find Geek Beat. Actually, geekbeat.tv too still works, right?
Yep. Geekbeat.tv.
And there are some new shows coming, I know.
Yes, so did holiday gift guides all last week, and this week we'll get into the regular released gadgets.
Yes, can't wait.
New released gadgets, whatever.
Danny Sullivan, thank you for being here and putting up with this insanity. Danny,
It's a pleasure.
Really great to have you. SearchEngineLand.com is the place to read Danny's writings.
One of the great websites of the web, by the way.
I absolutely
Thank you very
agree.
much.
He is the expert on this stuff and has been for years. And it's so great to have
Can
him.
I ask a question before you finish signing off on him?
Indeed.
Do you ever get confused with the other Danny Sullivan, the writer?
Who is the other Danny Sullivan?
Which writer? From the LA Times?
No, he's up here in the Northern Silicon. He did a whole slew of books, mostly about the Macintosh for between 19.
No.
I didn't know that, huh?
No. Huh. We don't, because there's a bunch of us out there apparently, but we don't get confused.
So it's not an uncommon name.
He spells it with one N.
Yeah.
I think that makes it a little easier.
It's usually if I get a speeding ticket, somebody jokes about the whole race car driver thing.
Oh, there is a Danny Sullivan race car. There's actually a Frank Laporte race car driver, too.
Wow.
Frank Laporte?
Yeah, my alter ego. Spell it with one K. John C. Dvorak, he's at Channel Dvorak. He's also the real Dvorak on Twitter. Cali, I should say, is Cali Lewis on Twitter, right?
Yes.
And Danny, what are you on Twitter? Danny Sullivan?
Just Danny Sullivan.
Easy enough.
Yeah.
Will only has one L in his name, and there's nothing much we could do about that. He does have a nice little insignia on his breast.
There's an insignia going on.
It's very manly. Thank you all for being here. We are out. Stay tuned. East Meets West is coming up next with Mr. Tom Merritt and Mr. Roger Chang. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next time. Another twit is in the can. I tried to do an hour and 15, and it ended up another 2-hour show. Gosh darn it.